Pretty incredible, eh? Hello, welcome back to the channel. So I'm on holiday. We've come away for a cheeky week in Fuerteventura, and I thought, do I take my camera? Do I leave it at home? Of course I take my camera. So I've done some research before I came, and one of the things that people photograph when they come to Fuerteventura is it's a chipmunk. It's actually I think it's called a Barbary squirrel, which is a ground squirrel. There aren't that many trees in Fuerteventura, so I can imagine why it's called a ground squirrel. But apparently they get quite close. So we're off to try and find the Barbary squirrel today. There's a good chance that we'll get raven as well. So we're going all the way up into the mountains, hopefully get some raven, some Barbary squirrel if we're lucky. So come along for the journey and see what I see. What I wanted to do was to show you whereabouts on Fuerteventura we went to photograph the Barbary Ground Squirrels. So you can see it's quite a central location, and really it's the only area of Fuerteventura that's got those mountainous areas, and you can see the little red marker that shows the location that we went to. Oh, we've arrived at the destination. We are literally in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the mountains, and I thought this can't be right. And as we've pulled up in the car park, these hundreds of ground squirrel are all over the place. So I'm going to get out now and hopefully get a few photographs and a bit of video for you. So what you can probably see now, a coach has arrived. And what's really interesting is if you'd have come on a coach, you'd have seen nothing. Because the minute that coach pulled up and all the people got out, the chipmunks have vanished. And they're all probably looking for them, but nowhere to be seen. So we'll just hang on till this coach moves on, and I'm sure they'll all be back out again. I've had to limit the amount of pieces to camera outside because we're up in the mountains, it's very windy, and because I've come away, I've left my DJI Pocket at home and just brought my GoPro. The GoPro is terrible in the wind, gets absolutely obliterated by wind noise, so I've waited till I've come back in the car. So just a couple of things that I wanted to mention really. The first one, settings wise, these Barbary squirrels are very, very fast, very, very fast indeed. They're very skittish and they move around really, really quickly. So shutter speed wise, I've gone between 1,600th of a second up to 4,000th of a second at times. And then aperture is something that I started off at using at about 5.6. That was on a 70 to 200 lens that would drop all the way down to 2.8, and at 5.6 I thought I would have had plenty of depth of field. But because the squirrels are coming in really close to the camera, they're so used to people. I mean, they were climbing over my legs at one point. Because they were so close to the camera, the depth of field was really, really shallow. So I had to increase that to f8, f10 to get anywhere near a kind of acceptable depth of field on the chipmunks, on the squirrels. So that's something to bear in mind. I mean, you don't have to worry about your shutter speed and a small aperture here because it's bright sunshine, it's the middle of the day, we're in Fuerteventura, so you know, light is not something that I'm struggling with at all. So I was able to have high shutter speeds with a small aperture and still be shooting at well below 1000 ISO. So shutter speeds and light and things like that, no concern whatsoever, which makes a nice change from photographing in the UK where I'm constantly playing that balancing act. And the other key thing to remember really is to just sit and wait. I mean, you come to these places and, you know, we've spent a couple of hours here and most people that are visiting are coming, pulling over, out the car, 5 minutes max, and then they're gone again. And what you find is the more people that are here, obviously the less the squirrels, the chipmunks are out. They're quite nervous when there's lots and lots of people. As the numbers of people dwindle, they become brave, and then before you know it, they're crawling all over you, and you're not struggling to get any shots of them whatsoever. So what I've done now is I've switched from the 70 to 200 to the 24 to 70 lens, and I'm shooting that as wide as possible at 24mm. And what I'm looking for here are those shots where the squirrel, as much as possible, is filling the frame, and the wide angle kind of accentuates its limbs, so it'll be, you know, I've got shots where they're reaching up above and the limbs look really, really long, and I think that you only really get that with a wide angle shot. What I've had to do though when I've been shooting with a wide angle is to just drop the aperture down a little bit, back down towards f8, f6, because I felt that when it was back up at f8 and f10, then with it being a wide angle lens, the depth of field was great, and what I was getting was lots of distraction in the background, and when what you really want is that blurred background. So you have to be constantly playing with your apertures, bearing in mind that the lens that you've got on and the subject and how close the subject is to the frame, and that makes a big difference. So something worth bearing in mind. We finished up at the last point, drove just up the road and there was another lay-by, and this was like a viewing platform for the whole valley. So I thought I'll get out and do some landscape shots. Although the light's a little bit harsh for landscape, I thought no, but it'd be worth doing. And as I got out, I was met with yet more chipmunks. This time, rather than being on tarmac, they were on their own actual stone, which is, for me, is a much more pleasing photograph. And ravens, 2 ravens, and I've got some great photographs of the ravens. So a real worthwhile stop. I'm glad we carried on up the valley. And now I'm just debating on whether to press on a little bit more along the ridge line and see if I can get some shots further along for you. I've had a moment of madness. I've decided that I'm going to climb what is a knife edge ridge. Robbie, I think you'll be impressed by this. When I get to the top, I'll get a bit of photographs, hopefully some drone footage, and it'll be all worthwhile, and I'll come back in one piece. Fingers crossed. A real steep climb to get up onto the top. Worth it though. It's pretty incredible from up here. Oh. And I'm going to call it a day there. As I say, I've spent quite a lot of time now with the chipmunks. Got some fantastic shots. I took loads of shots, and the beauty of somewhere like this is that your subject is there with you. They're there for a long period of time. They're not going anywhere, and it affords you that ability to be able to experiment with different apertures, different focal lengths, and just see what you can come up with. So I've got lots and lots of shots now. I'm quite happy with that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Look, probably a little bit shorter than some of my normal videos, but worth getting something in whilst I'm away on holiday. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like, drop me a comment in the bottom. Lots and lots of people are doing that now, which is great, and I respond to every single comment. Share this video on social media if you don't mind doing so, and until next time, ta-ra!